When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, and welcome back to the Grease Goblins YouTube channel. And today's video, we are going to be talking about what if Jon Snow just never went to the Wall. So in the normal timeline, we see that Jon just kind of feels rejected from his family. He has really no place, and he decides to go with his uncle Benjen to the Wall. In this scenario, we're going to be talking about what if that just never happened. This theory is going to be, or this what if fan fiction is going to be very similar to the one we did last week. It's going to be a little different, but it'll kind of have the same beats to it. So if you haven't seen that video, I would tell you to check that video out as well. And let's, get into it. But before we do, if you guys would like to subscribe, like, and comment to see more of these videos and to help, spread the channel to other people that might like this content like you, do that. And also, if you have a what if you guys would like me to do, let me know in the comments. And yeah, let's get into it. So, Jon Snow in this timeline says, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to go to the Wall. And he stays with Robb, he stays with Theon, he stays with all these people. And the major first thing I can see that would happen. I talked about this in the Ned dying at the Tower of Joy video, that right off the bat, Lord Mormont would be killed because Jon would not be there to basically light the White on fire that was trying to kill Lord Mormont. So that immediately changes a lot at the Wall, because then you have a couple different candidates who could have been the Lord Commander, like Qhorin Halfhand, like an Alistair Thorne, like a lot of these characters that we see later on when Jon tries to become the new Lord Commander. And with that being said, I think the Wall is in a much worse state than in the normal timeline, which says a lot because they're already in a pretty bad state. Now, jumping back to where Jon would be at this point, because that is really the only thing it affects, because in the Ned video, a lot changes with King's Landing and all that stuff. But for this, we have a few things that I would like to talk about. So I don't think Jon and Robb would send Theon to the Iron Islands. I think Jon would be a little smarter and realize that this is probably a stupid idea and would agree with Cat. So I don't think Theon would have ended up going to the Iron Islands, which you guys can debate that, but I think Jon would have had enough influence on Robb to make him not do that. Now, with this being said, I think a lot of the same things happen besides that, though. I think Robb still would have married the girl. Even if Jon had told him not to, I think he still would have. I think Jaime would have been set free by Catelyn. I really don't think Jon would have even been there to even help stop that. So with all these things said, not a lot actually would have changed. I think Jon would have gone to Robb at the Red Wedding. And I think we would have seen a similar thing, as in Jon dies a lot sooner in the timeline with Robb. So in short, this video is going to go on a little longer, but in short, Jon has a much worse outcome if he goes with Robb, because in this situation, he's probably going to die. I think he dies. He would have been with Robb. He would have been one of his closest allies. I think at this point, he would have died at the Red Wedding. Now, looking back at the Wall now, so at the Wall, it would have been very interesting, because I think no matter who is ruling at this point, I think more or less the Night Watch would have been in a much worse disadvantage. I think without Jon, we would not have known as much about what the Wildlings were planning, what the White Walkers or the others were going to be doing. I think the Wildling thing still plays out the same, just because Stannis still would have came to the Night's Watch aid. So I don't think the Wildlings would have gotten across again in this scenario, but I just think they would have been a lot more underprepared for the others when they do inevitably attack within either the next book or A Dream of Spring. And I think without Jon there, you're just in a worse position in leadership, as well as in understanding of your enemy, as well as trying to get the Wildlings to come across the Wall, because that never was going to happen without Jon being there. So that's just more, army for the others. So with all this being said, we also talk about the northern politics that are going on right now leading into Winds. The big thing right now is Jon looks like he could be the main candidate to either be the Lord Regent for someone like a Rickon, or he could just rule himself in the north after, everything is included if he comes back and stuff. Because right now, Rickon, I don't think is going to be a suitable lord for Winterfell. He's really young. I think he's going to be extremely wild, and he's going to be reckless. I don't think he's going to be someone you want ruling by themselves. I think a character like Jon will be a perfect character to rule over for Rickon until he comes of age. But in this timeline, Jon's going to be dead. Robb is going to be dead. Catelyn's dead. I mean, she'll still be Lady Stoneheart, but she's really kind of irrelevant to the story at this point. So, who takes the North? There's not really... There's Rickons left. So, what happens in this situation? Do we have Wyman Mannerly assume the rights of Lord Regent if Stannis wins all this and Rickon is, moved back into Winterfell? Because Wyman Mannerly is the biggest, supporter of Rickon. Would he be the person that would be kind of in control at this point? I definitely could see it happening. I think it would insult a lot of the northern houses that Wyman Manderly is being given this power, which I think it could cause conflict. But I think the North is not going to be unified just in general. I think with Rickon Stark being the only person really there that has the Stark name and that will be able to rule, and then seeing, depending on who he has as a Lord Regent above him, which I think could be a Wyman Mannerly character, I just don't think the North would be even somewhat united. I think a lot of people would see this as, the White Harbor trying to gain power in Winterfell, kind of like the Boltons did with overthrowing the Starks. So, in general, I think the others win in this one, because with this being said, a lot of the main story is still playing out, where this doesn't affect King's Landing much. It doesn't really affect a lot of the things south. So you still have a very not unified southern part of Westeros. That's the same in the north as well. So I think the others probably just run through the north. And then I think maybe at this point we have Dany where she's kind of conquered the rest of Westeros and she's a little unified to fight this conflict. I just think at this point it'd be too late. So that is my quick video for what I think would happen if Jon did not go to the Wall. I think his story would end a lot quicker. I think it'd be worse for the story in general, because I think Jon is such an interesting character when he's taken away from the Starks. He's put into a kind of a hostile environment, and we really see him grow as a character. And, in a video, I'm going to be doing a top 10 character arcs, which he definitely will be on. Jon is one of the most interesting characters from start to where we are now. And I think keeping him as kind of just Robb's underling is just... I don't know. I think it just ends kind of the same. Let me know if you guys have a different opinion. If you think Jon would have been able to stop things like the Red Wedding or some of these other stuff. I don't think so, because we see with, him ruling at Castle Black, he's not great at keeping people happy and knowing when danger is coming. So I think more or less they both die. It all plays out more or less the same, and I think the others would end up winning in this scenario, sadly. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I hope you guys... like this type of content, and I will see you guys all in the next one.